So, about a week ago, we had this article drop explaining to us that Disney CEO Bob Iger, who has done a questionable job overseeing some of the greatest franchises in the history of cinema, his contract is expiring. It's expiring at the end of this year, I believe. And Disney are actively seeking for his replacement, for a new CEO of the Walt Disney Corporation. His contract is not renewing. So this is officially Bob Iger's last year as the CEO of Disney. So that happened about a week ago. And now we've just gotten some updates on this story. So Bob Iger's 2025 pay rises to $45.8 million as Disney board reaffirms that succession is imminent. I think 45 million, I think that's about what, a third of what Obi-Wan cost, something like that. Disney filed its annual proxy filing Thursday with new details about the succession process. I mean, a $45.8 million pay rise is fucking crazy. That is fucking ridiculous. I mean, you know, I'm a capitalist. Fine, whatever. Yeah, sure, I'm a capitalist. I like money. Everybody likes money. But why does Bob Iger need an extra $45 million? Why does he need an extra $45 million to tell Kathleen Kennedy to put a chick in it and make her lame and gay? Why does he need $45 million to do that? That's a great episode. Fucking South Park. Big up South Park. So, Walt Disney Co. CEO Bob Iger saw his 2025 compensation rise to $45.8 million as the company reaffirmed that it will name his successor in early 2026. Disney filed its annual proxy statement Thursday, setting its annual shareholder meeting for March, including a vote for board members and an advisory vote on executive compensation. Iger's compensation package was comprised of a $1 million salary, $21 million in stock awards, $14 million in option awards, $7.25 million in non-equity incentive plan compensation, and $2.6 million in other compensation, including for security. For comparison, Iger's 2024 package totaled $41.1 million. Crazy how much these fucking CEOs and executives actually get paid. It's proper wild. The filing also disclosed compensation for other top execs, with CFO Hugh Johnston seeing his pay package fall to $20.2 million from $24.5 million. That's unfortunate. Hopefully he can recover from such a tragic loss. And Chief Legal and Global Affairs Officer Horatio Gutierrez seeing his pay rise slightly from $15.8 million to $16.3 million. That's not enough of a pay rise. That upsets me. That upsets me. I'm very upset about that very low pay rise. I mean, how's he gonna pay his bills on 15 million? I mean, that's gonna be a struggle. That's gonna be a struggle for him. How's he gonna buy his 10th mansion? on 15 million. As always, the actual take-home pay that executives receives depends on the company's share price, given the heavy tilt toward stock compensation. It is also worth noting that essentially all of Disney's top executives sitting below Iger in the org chart, including Gutierrez and Johnston, have inked new contracts with the company in the last few months, ensuring a degree of stability for whomever is selected to succeed Iger. Imagine if it's Kathleen Kennedy. Imagine if it's Kathleen Kennedy. That would be would that be a plot twist? Would that count as a plot twist? I don't know. The Succession Planning Committee is focused on positioning the new CEO for long-term success of the company by, among other things, surrounding the new CEO with a team of senior executives who can work together to lead the company into the future. In a letter to shareholders, Disney chairman James Gorman wrote that succession planning remains a top priority and reaffirming that we currently expect to announce the appointment of the company's next CEO in early 2026. I bet it will be like nobody. It will be somebody nobody's ever heard of. It will be some random executive or business guy, media guy. It will be nobody. It will be somebody nobody's ever heard of or anybody cares about. It'll be some random. I bet you it will. I bet you it will end up being some random guy nobody's ever heard of. Per the proxy, the board succession committee met 5 times in fiscal 2025, with Iger occasionally being consulted too. In the course of these discussions with Iger, the board evaluates potential candidates and discusses development plans for potential candidates. The company wrote Iger has been mentoring internal candidates. Filing notes. The proxy indicates that Disney's board has been developing a compensation plan connected to the succession news and designing an executive compensation program aimed at driving the creation of long-term shareholder value. So it looks like we're still some time off from hearing who's going to succeed Iger. Obviously they're saying early 2026, and I know we are technically in early 2026. It is nearly February at the time of this recording, but I imagine that when they say early 2026, I imagine that comprises of the quarter. So we've got the first quarter of 2026. Well, they've got the first quarter of 2026 to pick and announce the new CEO. Perhaps they have picked the new CEO, and they're just waiting to actually get the information out there. But I mean, how do I feel about Bob Iger? I mean, Bob Iger's a smart guy. He's clearly a very smart, intelligent guy. He's got the business game on point. He's got the media game on point. He clearly knows what he's doing as a CEO. But I mean, the thing is, he had the sense to cushy up to George Lucas 25, 30 years ago, and then when Lucas wanted to sell Lucasfilm, he went straight over to Bob Iger. So he had the sense to do that. So clearly knows what he's doing in that way. But I mean, the thing is, he's overseen Lucasfilm for the past, what is it now? When was the sale? 2012. So he's overseen Lucasfilm for nearly 15 years. He's overseen Marvel, which obviously the MCU's done incredibly well, but not so much in the last, 5 years. My point is, he's overseen Star Wars, he's overseen Indiana Jones, he's overseen the MCU, and he's just done a questionable job with these franchises. I mean, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, literally the most iconic and culturally significant franchises in the history of cinema. I mean, here's the thing. I think this has gotten overlooked because everyone jumps straight on to blaming and hating Kathleen Kennedy, and Kathleen Kennedy always gets the blame because she was the president of Lucasfilm. But the thing is, what a lot of people have overlooked, I feel, is that Bob Iger is the top dog. He is the big boss. He's the boss of all of it. So it's like everything that's happened to Star Wars and Indiana Jones. I mean, Bob Iger was the last decision on all of it. He had to sign his name on the dotted line for all of these decisions that he's been made. I mean, here's the thing: if Bob Iger could have fired and replaced Kennedy at any point in the last 15 years. I mean, after everything that happened with The Last Jedi, Bob Iger could have fired and replaced Kathleen Kennedy. That's the thing. He had plenty of opportunity to do what he needed to do to make sure that Star Wars didn't go in the direction that it went. I mean, it is impressive. It really is impressive that they got their hands on the most successful, lucrative, most iconic franchise ever created, and they completely pummeled it into the ground. It's crazy. It's crazy. That work is crazy. And obviously everyone jumps straight to blaming Kathleen Kennedy, but Bob Iger needs to take some responsibility for it too, because he's the CEO of Disney. He's in charge of everything. So if Bob Iger's like, for example, he goes up to Kathleen Kennedy and he goes, listen, Kathy, you're a great producer. We thought qualified for the job. We thought you were the woman for the job. You're clearly not. Sorry, you gotta go. We'll give you 50 million. So, we'll give you 50 million to make up for being fired. We'll give you a nice fucking compensation package to help the pain go down. But yeah, you gotta go. You gotta go. He could have done that at any point. He could have done that at any point if he wanted to. But the thing is, he's a CEO. His job is solely to make sure that the stock price goes up and up, shareholders are happy, merchandise being sold, this and that. They don't actually care. They're not creatives, they're not writers, they're not directors, they're not actors, I think a good example is someone like Tom Cruise. I mean, Tom Cruise is very wealthy, very successful, globally famous. But it's like, he writes, he directs, he produces, he does his own stunts. If you're not aware, Tom Cruise does his own stunts. And he really genuinely cares about the films he makes. I mean, if you remember Top Gun Maverick, if you went and actually saw it on the cinema, Top Gun Maverick had a little preview at the start of the film from Tom Cruise, basically saying, "Thank you for coming to the cinema to watch this film. We've worked very hard on it. Hope you enjoy what we've got for you." Bob Iger's never fucking done that. Kathleen Kennedy's never fucking done that. Whoever runs Netflix never records previews to put at the start of Netflix movies. Thank you for supporting our platform. We've worked very hard on this. Here's our final work. I doubt Dave Filoni will do something like that. My point is that these people, the people in Bob Iger's position, they're not creative people. They don't care about art. They care about keeping the shareholders happy, making sure the stock price goes up and up and up, and making sure the box office is good. They don't care about art. They don't care about creativity. They're not creative. They're not creative people. They don't care about preserving and upholding legacy franchises and actually expanding pop culture and well, I mean, they don't really care about culture, I mean, Star Wars was a cultural phenomenon that changed the world, genuinely. That is genuinely what Star Wars did in about 1 million different ways. But they don't actually care. They don't actually care about culture or spreading positive messages, influencing people in a positive way. I mean, one of the big things about the original Star Wars trilogy is that it was George Lucas taking the hero's journey, taking the philosophies of Joseph Campbell and adapting it into a cinematic format, and then using that to inspire. I mean, George Lucas has said this himself. The point of the original Star Wars trilogy was to inspire people, inspire young people, help the youth to discover the world and themselves and see good and evil. That's what Star Wars was about. And then there's so much to it. There's I mean, the story of Star Wars is the story of good versus evil, bravery, heroism, triumph, standing up to tyranny, standing up to evil, the concepts of freedom and democracy. These are the things that Star Wars is about. And that's why it was a cultural phenomenon. And that's why so many people have been inspired by Star Wars. I mean, Luke Skywalker is, and it's an objective fact, Luke Skywalker is the greatest, most iconic cinematic hero ever. He is the ultimate personification of the hero's journey and heroism and good triumphing over evil. And then they took that and they made Luke Skywalker a depressed, pathetic, loser, coward hiding on an island. And they made Han Solo a loser, deadbeat dad who's just like running around the galaxy like a tramp, like a deadbeat, like he's a homeless guy going from bridge to bridge to sleep under. I mean, what? And then just the franchise as a whole, the absolute decimation and destruction and corruption of Star Wars as a franchise, and the same with Indiana Jones. And that's what's happened, not quite as extreme, but what's happened to Marvel and Indiana Jones has been happening to Marvel, I would say, since Endgame. Since Endgame, the MCU has been experiencing the same problems as Star Wars and Indiana Jones. I mean, a bit of a detour, but I mean, it's just so bit extreme, but it is genuinely fucking unacceptable what they did to Luke Skywalker. It really, really is. I mean, Luke Skywalker would never run up. First of all, he would never try to kill his own nephew because he saw the darkness in him. I mean, the point of Luke's character is that he saw the good in Darth Vader, and he actually pulled him back to the light and defeated the Empire, defeated the Sith, and restored freedom and democracy back to the galaxy, all because he saw the good in Darth Vader, who was also his father. But then you're telling me that he sees sort of glimmers of darkness inside Ben Solo, his nephew, and his immediate reaction is to kill him in his sleep, decapitate him in his sleep. Doesn't make any fucking sense. How does that make any sense? And then Luke Skywalker fails to save his nephew from falling into the dark side, and then he runs off to a fucking island on some random planet in the corner of the galaxy. Luke Skywalker wouldn't run away from anything. Luke Skywalker wouldn't run away from anything. The point of Return of the Jedi, the last act, is that he turns himself in to go face off against Darth Vader and the Emperor with the single hope that he can bring his father back to the light to defeat the Emperor. Essentially, it was a suicide mission. Turning himself in and being sent to the Death Star to face off against Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine by himself. Essentially a suicide mission. But he did it anyway because he had the hope of being able to turn his father back to the light, and he went and did it anyway, and he pulled it off, and he saves the fucking galaxy. And you're telling me that guy and the character, Luke's character in Return of the Jedi, is meant to be like 22, 23? So a 20-year-old kid goes to a planet-destroying space station to face off against the two most powerful beings in the universe by himself, and he comes out on top. And you're telling me that guy is scared of his nephew and Snoke, who's a deformed, mutated clone of fucking something. Luke Skywalker wouldn't be afraid of Luke Skywalker wouldn't be scared of anything. Complete character assassination. So, brief detour, brief rant. But that's the truth, to be honest. That is the truth. But anyway, we will be getting further developments on this particular story soon. Who Bob Iger's replacement is. Hopefully it's somewhat interesting, and hopefully we can have some hopefully we can have some turnaround on the mistakes that have been made in the last 10, 15 years or so, and hopefully we can get back on track. But we'll have to see. We will have to see on that. So yeah, that is all I wanted to cover for today. So see you later.